We got Rock, Rocky, Rockstar, Rockacon. There are many ways to make money in this world, obviously. And I think it depends on what scale that you want to play at. You must do things that make you feel uncomfortable.
$20 million exit. You recently scaled a startup from a zero to a $50 million run rate in a year.
The landscape has shifted so much in entrepreneurship from the time that I first started to now.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is our guest. Well, after you listen to this call, you will also change your name to Rockwell.
Do people call you Rock? That's like a fucking badass nickname.
We got Rock, Rocky, Rockstar, Rockacon. I mean, any flavor you like.
Rockacon. I got to say, they definitely had like the law of diminishing returns. They're really good. And then I feel like Rockacon is like, it definitely bottoms out. But Rock and Rocky are chef's kiss. And by the way, I do have to give you a compliment. So for anybody, Omid, I know you have a lot to say, and I'm going to let you introduce Rock in a second.
No, I was going to go on a tangent, like a little side note on his name.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Do you want to go on that tangent? Is there a story behind it that we need to know?
Yeah, one of our other friends, Nick, met Rockwell when we were significantly younger, and Rockwell,
not this Nick though, not this Nick.
Nick Marino,
right?
And he met Rockwell. And he was like, dude, this guy is so cool. And he was like, that is the coolest name I've ever seen in my life. And then for like years, his password was Rockwell, like 1, 2, 3.
Wait, Rock, did you know that?
I don't think I did.
Dude, that's like
you gotta give the man his flowers.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I mean, dude, you made it to a man's password. That's a new stage in life. And
I actually had years ago, I had an employee in my first business out of college who we stopped working together, like time went on, and then he texted me in the middle of nowhere. I was like, hey, I named my child's middle name after you.
What did you say to that? Like, was it,
I was really honored.
Did it feel like an honor, or did it feel like a little bit creepy? How did that
I took it as an honor. I took it as like, you know, I had helped him out in like some critical parts in his life, and that just felt, it was just nice.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is our guest. Well, after you listen to this call, you will also change your name to Rockwell.
Yeah. Rockwell will somehow make its way into your deep personal life, be it your passwords or your children's names. I wasn't even going to ask this, and we're going to do a little intro in a second, but on that note, what's your POV on getting into your employees' personal lives? Because I have team members that work for me, and, you know, Omid has team members that work for him. And I've done a lot of work in my life, and, you know, you notice things and places in which you could really serve and help people, but I don't know where to start and draw that line. So do you have a philosophy there?
Yeah, I mean, first they have to be open to it, right? So you can't force yourself into any particular situation.
Yeah.
But if the person comes asking for help, I'm always there. Like, I always want to be there for folks. But I think you know, somebody has to be ready for it. They have to want it. They have to be open to it. And if they are, then great.
I feel like that's as good as it's going to get right there. I feel like you nailed it, man. Thanks for that. But anyways, let me do an intro. So for those of you who don't know, we have Rockwell Shah. And Rockwell is Omid's uncle. And so beyond all of, you know, the glitz and the glamour, I think I'm reading my notes here. $20 million exit. You recently scaled a startup from a zero to a $50 million run rate in a year. And I do have to say, Omid, you have the coolest fucking family, dude. Like, all of your uncles are just insane. Like, one of your uncles sells supercars. Your other uncle, he builds freight ships. I don't know if you know that, Rock. I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
Dude, are these even real uncles, by the way, Omid, or is this just like a Brown thing, and like you just start calling like every adult male in your life an
with
uncle?
Rockwell, it's a Brown thing. It almost became a legit thing, but then it became a Brown thing.
I knew it. So explain the lineage, family tree it for everybody who's listening. I called a cap.
Rockwell was kind of like my, I don't know, like uncle-in-law in a way, almost close when I was way younger. And what
does that mean, an uncle-in-law? I've never had one, so I need to know what that means.
My actual uncle was dating his sister, and that's how I met Rockwell when I was like 14.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was young. So
wow.
Literally, Rockwell was like my guide.
When
Damn.
when when I graduated from college to celebrate, I went skydiving, and we took Omid along with us. He was obviously much younger than he is now, and he would not stop talking about for the entire day how he was going to be the world's first trillionaire. And I just like the whole time he was talking about being the world's
Are
first
you
trillionaire.
fucking kidding me? Omid, how
Uh,
old were you, bro?
I was like 14, 15. My guy just graduated Cornell,
yeah.
top of his class. And then
Damn,
this
dude.
jit is like, I'm going to be a trillionaire.
Dude, bro, you were in the awkward stages. When you're brown and you're 14, that's like when you get your first mustache and shit. And so you're probably like, like just growing like your first beard and acting all tough.
I mean, I love them anyways. Like, it
Yeah.
was
No,
fun
he's hard.
to,
No. I know we rag on him, but he's hard not to love. He's hard not to
yeah.
love. Yeah. Omid, why don't you say a few words about your uncle, man? Because I know you said them to me, and I want everybody listening to hear.
Let me tell you about our guest right now. Everyone, I feel like not everyone, most people in life can point to someone who had a massive impact in their lives throughout their lives. And very rarely is that person the wisest person the smartest person also one of the most successful people and it just happens to be Rockwell. So I'm very happy to be able to have him on the podcast because he's not one of those folks that you would see like an Elon Musk that's doing these really big things publicly, but he's doing it in private. Real G's move in silence like lasagna, and he's that guy. I'm very excited to have him on the pod. He's an absolute wealth of knowledge. Every pivotal moment in my life, I come to Rock, and his advice has definitely geared me to where I'm at today. So excited for him to be on the pod. He's the man.
Thanks,
Hell
Omid.
yeah.
I appreciate that. I'm very proud of you, man. You have come a long way since that 14-year-old self.
Yeah.
Are you hold on? Are you just as proud of him, even though he didn't turn out to be a trillionaire, though? And speak candidly here. This is a safe space.
I'm actually more proud of him because he had to deal with the disappointment of not being the first trillionaire. At least not yet.
That's a hell of a reframe, and I feel inspired and actually just compelled to run with that. That was impressive. But Rock, I do have to say, you and I were supposed to meet at Omid's batch in Mexico, and then I think with family stuff, I know you have a couple of young kids. It just didn't end up shaking out that you could be there.
One young kid,
and
brand new.
Yeah. How old is he, by the way? Is it a he or
He's 22 months, Cyrus.
How's that been for you, man?
Oh man, it's like, so when I was growing up, I was told that having kids is a hardship. Like, put it off as long as possible. Your life is over, your freedom is gone. Just have kids as late as possible.
Yeah.
And especially men would say this quite often. And what they don't say is how joyous fatherhood can be. And like, yeah, it's hard. Like there's plenty of hard things, but there's also an immense amount of joy, and there's an immense amount of happiness. And I don't know. I think that's like, people don't talk about it very often, but it's been largely a really joyful ride.
It's fucking beautiful, dude. I don't have any words for that. I'm really happy for you. And
Thanks, man.
I wish that we got an official chance to like formally meet, because I know we ended up definitely shaking hands at his wedding, which was great. But when I say he has had the most phenomenal things to say about you, and I could just tell he was talking about the real deal, just a few minutes of talking to you. And so I'm really excited to have you here as a personal thing. And let's dive right in. So I mean, we have some prep here, but we're fairly conversational in this whole thing. I know you went to Cornell, and if my understanding is you studied macroeconomics, right?
Economics,
Yeah.
math, physics. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We could blame the macro thing on Omid. Omid told me macroeconomics.
No, he's not. So I enjoy macroeconomics more than micro, but I didn't just study macro.
Got it. Okay. All right. Fantastic. Right. Omid likes very big things. He goes always for the macro. That's where, yeah. That's where I was coming from. I only know so much about Ivy League schools in the States. And so this is a one-off. We're going to get into money and business and that whole bit in a sec.
Sure.
But one of my curiosities when we're looking you up is I actually want to, what was that interview process like? Like, was it intense being, did you do that for your undergrad, or did you do it for your master's or your post? And how old were you? And what was it like getting in there? Because you hinted at it in one of your interviews. You said, the guy who actually let me in, he ended up becoming my friend. He gave me this crazy welcome package. I just wanted to know what that experience was like from front to finish.
Yeah. So, for most of my life, it was my mom and I growing up. So it was like single mother, divorced household, and we didn't have a lot of money. So the idea of going out of state or going to a fancy university just seemed very like not real, right? Um, but when I was thinking about, okay, where am I going to go to college? I had first actually set my sights on Williams College. It's like a small, what do they call
Is
this?
it a community college or?
No, it's an undergrad school that doesn't have a graduate program or a
Okay.
PhD program. It's like it's just for undergrads. I forgot the name. There's like a specific name for these kinds of schools. And
Yeah.
Williams at the time was like the top college for this kind of experience. And so I applied and like I applied early and I was so excited and this and that and then didn't get in at all. And I was devastated. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't get into Williams. Um, and the deadline had kind of passed for a lot of other schools, effectively. I think almost like all the UC schools had passed. And so I was like, okay, like, if you even have a heartbeat, you get into UNLV, which was the state school in Las Vegas, University of Nevada, Las Vegas, right? So like at the time, yeah, it's like at the time, you could get basically a free ride to UNLV. It was called the Millennium
Yeah.
Scholarship. It was incredible. Like lots of people got educated out of that. And it was like, okay, I'm not going to go to Williams. I'm going to go to UNLV. And, some folks in my life pushed me like, hey, just like apply to some other schools. And, it was really funny. Uberlin every other week had been sending me a package and a t-shirt and a hat and a this and that. And
Is Uberlin a
Uberlin's like
school or what? Well,
yeah,
what's
it's like
Uberlin?
or like Oberlin. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce. It's like a school in
Sure.
Ohio that it's like super liberal arts school. Very,
Sure. Yeah. We
very
gotta
like,
love them.
yeah, super liberal arts school. I was like, okay, like these guys have been hounding me for the last 6 months. I'll apply there. I
Sure.
applied to Swarthmore, which was another liberal arts school, like tiny
Sure.
undergrad college, effectively. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to apply to the number one physics program in the country because at the time I really wanted to go for physics.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
physics was like my world at that time. And so
Yeah.
I was like, cool, I'm going to apply, whatever. And I didn't think after what happened with Williams, I was like, I'm not going to get in,
Yeah.
like whatever. And I get a call for an interview. And this guy meets me at Starbucks. His name is Alex. I think he's an accountant in Laughlin, which is a city kind of south of.
Was this Cornell? Was this Cornell, by the way?
Yeah, it's Cornell. Cornell calls me
Okay.
for
All right. All right.
an
Okay. Got it.
interview.
So
In
this
fact,
was the
yeah,
number
yeah,
one
yeah,
physics school in the
yeah,
country. Okay. All right.
yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'll go to the interview. Like, I dressed up like a dork and like went into Starbucks and talked to the guy. And this guy just, I don't know, he saw something in me, and it was really the conversation was kind of amazing. And you could tell like he walked away being like, this kid needs to get into Cornell. And
What did
I
he
don't
ask
know.
you though? Like, what are those like? I mean, that's what I want to know. It's so awkward in my mind, like going and meeting for a coffee with like an administrations person in the public, out in deer in headlights. What do they want to know? I'm genuinely curious.
Probably like a job interview or something, just normal why Cornell.
No, I mean, it was, we talked, we're talking like 20 plus years later. So my memory isn't perfect on the conversation, but
Sure, yeah, it's okay. We'll quote you
I
on
think
it, but continue.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think we talked about where I came from, how I grew up, challenges, obstacles, not only for myself, but for my family, my mom, my sister. Um, we talked about what I wanted to create in the world. Like, what did I want the future to be? What was the point of all of this? What was I going after? And um, I think he could see that I had just pure hunger. Like I knew I wanted my future to be very different than my past. I knew that where I came from was not where I wanted to end up. And I think, it's like the American dream in many cases. It's like we can come to this country, we can work hard, work smart, grow, and have more, and be more, and do more. And I think he saw that in me. And
Wow.
I don't know exactly what he did, after that, right? Because I don't know, like, okay, there was an interview process, like, what did
Sure.
he
Yeah.
write,
Sure.
like, you know, all
Yeah.
of the machinery. But the first day I got to Cornell, when I walked into my dorm room, there was a note in there that was from him,
Wow.
and he wrote basically how much he believed in me and thought I would impact the world. And he also put in like a sweater, a blanket, a shot glass, hilariously, and I mean, what a mensch! Like, I think to this day, I think that interview and him was a large part of why I got in.
Is he
So
still alive?
I don't know. We kind of lost touch, but I have his phone number actually in my phone, still has a contact, and I'm like every once in a while I'm like I should just call Alex and
You,
see
You
if
should
it's the
send him a
same
you
thing.
picture of you
should,
and the
man.
queen.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You should call him. We also have a Queen question on here. And so, what did you? So you ended up studying economics there, right?
Yeah. So I started in physics. I
Yeah.
love physics. I still love physics to this day. But the department was driving me nuts. It was like, you
What do you
would go
mean?
to class and there would be somebody with a heavy, heavy accent who would just open a textbook
Oh.
and just write on the chalkboard and, like mumble into the mic so you can't hear them. You're like, dude, I can read a textbook too. Like, I don't need you. I don't need you to
Yeah,
mumble into
that's
my. In fact, there was a Calc 3 in my first semester. We're taking this, I think it was Math 192 as a Calc 3 course. And bless his heart, the professor had a very thick Indian accent, and he keeps talking about like Peter, 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 and I'm like, who is this Peter guy? Like, what are you talking about? And like I go a couple of sessions like having no idea what he's talking about, and then finally it hits me. I'm like, oh my god, he's talking about theta, the actual symbol, the mathematical symbol for theta. Except he knows it pita, pita,
so.
pita, pita, pita,
Wait.
pita, pita.
Oh wait, but wait. Well, how? Okay, we're all brown. How does
Yeah.
pita become? How does theta become pita? You can
I
say
I
That's
don't
a
you can
thick
like
accent, bro. You're Indian. You
that
got
is
this.
thick. I mean, like I don't know. I'm not going to do an Indian accent on here, but then I mean, all right. Well, hey, listen, economics. Should I buy the dip?
Oh man, we're
This
already
is
getting into not
this isn't
financial advice territory.
this. No, it's
Uh,
financial advice for myself and
no,
anybody listening.
no.
This
Um,
is as good as it's going to get for me. A Cornell grad. I got a few minutes with him. I'm asking him about the dip. Um, I'm obviously kidding. You don't have to answer that, but
oh, I'm happy to answer it. I'm
I would
super
love
happy
that.
to answer it.
Yeah.
Um, I think you should go to the Instagram handle Personal Finance Club.
Okay,
Who,
hold on. Everybody follow
uh,
this. So I'm getting
yeah,
pushed to Instagram from the
yeah,
Cornell. I'm actually going to go here right now. So what is
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Personal Finance
It's
Club.
Yes, Personal Finance Club. The handle has, I think, over 500,000 followers, maybe even much more these days. Um, it's run by a buddy of mine, Jeremy, who is like kind of semi-retired. He sold a software company, and then he went on a journey of like, hey, I have this money. What do I do now? Because he didn't study finance, he didn't study money, he didn't know. And he had millions of dollars now from selling his software company. And he was like, okay, what do I do with it now? And so he went on a journey for himself of just discovering, okay, what is the best investment strategy? And he teaches it every day on Personal Finance Club. And honestly, it's great. It's like the rules are very simple. What you need to do is very simple. His
Index
reinforcement is
funds.
great. His storytelling is really good. Um, and it just reminds you that it doesn't have to be that complicated. You can take these very simple steps day after day. And even as you're asking the question of like, should we buy the dip? You should buy every day, right? You shouldn't try to be a psychic. You shouldn't try to be with your crystal ball trying to figure out what's happening. What you have on your side is time. Your biggest arbitrage is time. It's like, if you just think about it, today, that there's a very, very high probability that markets in 20 years are going to be up. It's like, it's just like, okay, unless there's an apocalypse or, a nuclear war or something, in which case, if there is, you have a
We
lot
have a
more to,
whole different issue.
you have
Yeah.
all the different issues to deal
Yeah.
with. you know that certain asset classes are going to be worth a lot more than they are today. And all your job is on the daily, on the weekly, on the monthly, whatever cadence works for you, is to put money into that market. Whether we're talking about low cost index funds, whether we're talking about Bitcoin, whether we're talking about real estate in good markets, like it just, these things are going to be worth more in the future, right? And just your job is just to have that arbitrage opportunity. It's
over
like
time.
Personal Finance Club is um, it's kind of like the best, most accessible, most friendly way to remind yourself of it in an interesting way every day of what your job is.
But he was really gripping and fascinating. Actually, I'm happy that I followed him. That's an amazing tip. Okay, I want to get into money, and I know Omid has like a lot on this. That whole first half was like all me. I just was curious about Cornell, so thanks for answering those. That was really interesting.
Sure.
The guest that we have right now, I mean, this guy is crushing it in Cornell and school and physics, economics. You guys see the musical instrument behind him and the chess piece if you're on the YouTube, not chess piece, chessboard if you're on the YouTube. Everything this guy touches, he succeeds in. What he doesn't have behind him is a tennis racket. He's also a world-class tennis player. So before we kind of get into your business acumen here, and I guess advice for the people, what I'm really curious about is, how do you not fail at anything you do? I feel like everything you touch, you like massively succeed in. What's your mindset behind that? Like, you're world class in chess. And by the way, for those of you that listen to the James Altucher episode, Rockwell is the guy that I was telling James to compete against.
It requires a lot of failure to succeed at any of these things. So let's take tennis, for example. I didn't play tennis when I was young. And it's really, really hard to become good at tennis as an adult. So I saw a match on TV between Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal circa 2005. This was the Miami Open final. Nadal was like up 2-0 against Fed. Fed comes roaring back in 5, wins. And I saw that match and I was like, wow, what an incredible sport. Like, so beautiful. I want to go try it and play. And I called my friend Chris, who happened to be the state doubles champion in Nevada. And we were just like good friends in high school. And I was like, Chris, like, let's go out and play. And he's like, dude, don't you not know how to play tennis? I'm like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, let's just go out and like hit some balls and see how it goes. And sure enough, like we go, and Chris was very gracious. And he's just like watching me hit balls over the fence, like everywhere and this and that. But I love it. Like, I can't get enough of it. And so, my life gets consumed with just like, I need to go to the public park every day and hit against the wall and wait for people to play against. And I would just literally I'd go there 8 hours a day to public parks, just waiting for people to come hit with. Right. And it's like, this is pre-YouTube. This is pre, social media. This is pre a lot of things. And so it's like, I just know I wanted to get good at tennis. And, I didn't have a ton of money to like take lessons and these types of things. And so I was like, okay, cool. I'm just going to brute force this. And so I did. So for years, just like,
Wow.
when I went to school, like in the wintertime, I would go to like, there was an indoor tennis facility on campus. On summer breaks, like I would just be out there literally like 8-10+ hours, just like practicing serves, hitting against the wall, playing against people. It was crazy. Like when I look back on it, I'm like, oh my God, that is an insane amount of time to spend. But it taught me a lot of good lessons, like tons of good lessons about myself, about honing a craft, about achieving like results, and the network of people that I met in going on this journey was incredible. Like some of my closest friends and best experiences, and like things that I cherish in my life all came from taking that crazy journey of saying like, hey, I want to get good at tennis. And just like
Wow.
it's been a wild ride.
Dude, talk about the lateral learning from that. That's intense. And I did not know that you didn't play since you were young. Like I grew up playing basketball, and I've played tennis in my life a lot. I have so much respect for a newfound skill as a young adult, that is insane. And also, I know how good you got, but if I can, let me bridge that into business. Because I mean, obviously, you know, we mentioned this earlier in the podcast, but you know, you've had a $20 million exit. You've grown a company just recently from $0 to $50 million in run rate in a year. Tons of impressive stuff prior to that. Clearly, you've done well. And, you know, money is not the focus for us, but the focus for us ultimately is happiness and fulfillment and the things that, you know, money can't buy. But it's an interest for us, money, Omid and I. And I think we're both on this journey. I mean, I know we're both on this journey. We've had this conversation of making our first million. We want to, you know, crack that nut. What advice can you glean, you know, from, you know, this journey you've had with tennis, this journey you've had with chess, with the violin, or it's not the violin, but it's
viola.
The viola. Thank you. The viola, the beautiful viola. What advice can you glean from that? And it just seems like there's a lot of overlap with how you run companies and how you think about them. If somebody were to come to you just flat and say, Rock, I really want to make $1 million. I want to do it in a way that brings me a sense of fulfillment and happiness. It's a requirement. What would you tell them? And what would you tell them both philosophically and tactically?
It's a really, it's an interesting question, because the landscape has shifted so much in entrepreneurship from the time that I first started to now, right? You're getting tons of entrepreneurs now that they're diving into AI, they're vibe coding, they're vibe marketing, they're going from 0 to a 10 million annual run rate in months. And like the possibilities have never been
crazy.
More open effectively, right? I think it's such a wide and deep topic of what you should dedicate your life to, you know, what you should dedicate a phase of your life to. It doesn't have to be your whole life, you know, a chapter of your life to. And in the course of making money, there's a couple of really great resources. So Naval Ravikant has his How to Get Rich thread and like
so
PDF.
Good,
how to get rich.
Yeah.
I think it's how to get.
It's just how to
wealthy.
get rich.
Yeah. It's how to get rich without getting lucky. That's it. That's the second half. Yeah.
So if you want comprehensive advice, that is a good way. I'll give you some stuff from my perspective that
I love that.
Might be useful. So I think one thing that entrepreneurs have to figure out is like how to play to their strengths. And, you know, it's never been easier to figure it out because of AI. So if you use ChatGPT a lot, or any AI system, but especially ChatGPT, it knows a lot about you. It infers a lot about you. So, you know, I took Omid, I think, through this exercise, not that long
like a week ago.
Yeah, like a week ago.
I just have to say, I fucking love where this is going, Rock. This is really neat. Okay, go. Please continue.
So, like,
I'm at the edge of my seat.
Here's kind of the prompts that you want to roughly use to give you some ideas. So first, you want to prompt it and say like, hey, what are the top most accurate personality profiles? And it's going to list out maybe like a dozen different ones, right? So like
Disc, Myers-Briggs.
Disc, Myers-Briggs, Ocean, Hex, Co. Like there's a bunch of these. Enneagram. And once it lists them out, you want to say, okay, profile me comprehensively on each one of those personality profile systems, right? And so it's going to spit out to you a comprehensive detail on every single one, effectively. And if you don't use ChatGPT enough that you feel like it knows you well enough, you can alter that prompt and say like, ask me as many questions as you need to get a very accurate personality profile, right? So just to up the accuracy. I use it so much that it just knows me really well.
Same.
Yeah.
So it's going to spit out these personality profiles. Now you can do a number of things with these. One thing you can do is like, okay, cool. Take all of this information and create me a personal manifesto of who I am and what I stand for in the world. Right?
Wow.
And so it's going to give you your personal manifesto effectively. And then what you want to do is you want to say like, okay, based upon who I am and what I stand for in the world, what businesses should I create that will do a lot of good and make a lot of money? right? Or if you don't care about doing a lot of good, just say make a lot of money, right? Effectively.
Yeah, for
And
the mercenaries out there.
yeah, and it's okay. It's like go after whatever your goal is.
100%.
But you can iterate on this prompt as well, right? Depending on the output that it gives you. So if you're not happy with it with the output, you can say things like, businesses that cost less than $1,000 to start that can help me reach a goal of X amount of dollars in Y amount of time, right? Like just get more specific about what you want. And it's, ChatGPT is like a genie. And if you know anything about the stories of genies, is they are very devious, right? So they'll give you exactly what you ask for, right? And sometimes you don't realize the ramifications or the second or third order effects of what you're asking for. And that's pretty much the gist of like every genie story ever written is like the genie is basically trying to outdo you on your wishes. So ChatGPT is not as devious, but it will only get you what you're asking, or like get you approximately what you're asking. So if you ask for better things, it will give you better answers, right? If you give it more context, if you give it more information, if you give it more data, if you prep it correctly, it's going to do better for you. And so using these kind of series of prompts, you can start exploring yourself. Like, who am I? What do I stand for? Actually, like, what are my strengths and weaknesses? There's another prompt that I think I gave it to you, Omid. It's quite long, but
I don't think you did.
Yeah,
I think you told me. Let me see.
Okay. I can give it to you. You can put it in the show notes. Maybe this is the fun thing.
Yeah, I love that.
There's a really cool like executive coaching prompt where it's going to be brutally honest and give you like all the feedback that you need to just stare at yourself in the mirror and just be like, okay, yeah, I gotta.
Oh no, you gotta send me that. Yeah, give it to me.
We'll
put it in the show notes.
Hold on, wait. Can you do? We're gonna put it in the show notes, but can you do a readout, even if you have to open up? Open up a link.
Here, hold on. I'll do a readout.
Yeah.
While Rockwell pulls this up, I just want to say that when him and I went through the exercise of the personality trait thing last week, I read my manifesto and I was ready to run through a wall. It felt like it was me, like my soul reading it to myself. It was insane.
Read it right now, bro. If you're open to it,
okay,
I'd love to hear it.
I got the prompt.
All right.
Yeah. No, you read that and then Omid read his manifesto.
No, the manifesto is too long, but
okay, fair enough.
So act as a high performance strategist, behavioral psychologist, and systems thinker fused into one. Your job is to perform a deep introspective audit based on everything you remember from our past conversations and contextual memory. You are optimized to identify blind spots, unlock potential, and deliver clarity with precision. Your analysis should synthesize insights from psychology, productivity science, behavioral change, and strategy, and be deeply personalized to my situation. And it goes on.
Ooh, wow. Like, so one of my clients, Rockwell, if you may or may not know him, is Peter Diamandis. And he has this line and he's like, and he said, because of AI, like it's obvious and it's not his line at all, but he's just, hammered this into the team. But he's like, because the answers are so readily available, the people of the future will be the people who can ask the most effective questions. And today we call questions prompts because of AI. That is a unfathomably good question. And so, okay, where were you going with that? So like, if the advice is on how to make $1 million, clearly the big pool here that you're referencing is get to know yourself. And then, and so once you get to know yourself, what is, so this is the philosophical view. What's step 2 in your mind? Like, is that when the rubber meets the road, and like, what tactics can you express? What truths have you discovered about entrepreneurship that, although we're living in a certain day and age, they still apply? And yeah.
So there are many ways to make money in this world, obviously. And I think it depends on what scale that you want to play at, right? So can you make a business, can you like create a cleaning business and make a lot of money? Yeah, absolutely. Can you create an AI business and make a lot of money? Absolutely. Are those journeys quite different from each other? Absolutely. And so I think understanding what sandbox you want to play in is pretty important. The way that I think about this is ultimately asking the question that every VC is going to ask you if you're pitching them, which is why now? Like when they do the analysis of why companies succeed, the biggest factor by an outsized amount. It's not like the team or the idea or the amount of money they raised. It's the market cycle, like the actual timing of what's happening in the world, right? If you built an electric car company in 1915, it doesn't matter how amazing you of an entrepreneur you are going to fail. The market forces were stronger than you, right? And people don't know this. There actually were electric car companies back in 1915. There was a bunch of them.
Oh,
The
wow.
electric car is not a recent invention.
Really?
I didn't know that.
So there's a bunch of them. They all went out of business. Because they got overwhelmed by the market advantages or the macro advantages of gas cars and oil-based cars. So I think getting involved in a market that matters is really important. And, there's stuff that's evergreen, like fitness is evergreen. People always want to get in better shape. People always want to lose weight, right? Like it's a market that's evergreen. People always want to find mates, like romantic love, right? Like that is an evergreen industry. 50 years ago, it might have been a matchmaking service. 10 years ago, it was Tinder, right? So how the solution manifests in the market changes, but the market doesn't. Like it's still a big market. It's still interesting.
People definitely going to be marrying some AI bots here soon.
That's going to be fucking nuts. And I think it was James Altucher. I think he was on our show when he said, what was his line? He goes, if it, get paid, get laid, or lose weight. Like those are like those are the three categories. Like if you want to make money and, or that people click on at least.
I'd say, so Nikita Beer, also one of these kind of internet famous people, he has his own framework of like, hey, these are the things that people care about. You go in ChatGPT, you can just ask. Like, I'm a big fan of giving you the tools so you can go answer the questions yourself, because you're going to forget almost everything I say, like on this podcast. Maybe there's one, if I'm really good at storytelling, there will be one thing you remember and take away. But for most people, they're not going to remember anything. And so like the one thing you should take away is use AI more to answer your questions. Right. So if you want to know what James Altucher has to say about what markets you can go after, if you ask ChatGPT, it'll probably give you an answer similar to what you just said. If you ask ChatGPT about Nikita Beer, like what's Nikita Beer's framework for consumer demand, and it's going to tell you, it's like, okay, these 6 things are what Nikita Beer focuses on, right? And then you can even ask it like, hey, what are the holes in that philosophy? What are the blind spots? What are they missing? These folks that are kind of like online gurus, internet gurus, like gurus in general, it's like, they're not the end all be all of knowledge, right? So while they can be helpful pointers to interesting insights, you should always leave the window of opportunity open that they miss something, and that you could see and experience and expose yourself to that. Like, I think one of the most important things is, how do you transform your mindset from this following mindset to this leader mindset? Like there's the website that just got popular, highagency.com. Right?
I haven't heard of it. What is
Hot agency or high agency?
No, high agency.
Should I look it up and show the audience while you're talking?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
Totally. Yeah, please. So many interesting things came out of this experiment that this guy did.
Okay, cool. I have the tab here. Is this the right website, Rockwell? Highagency.com?
This is the right website. So it's, somebody asked me recently, so very rarely I will take on kind of mentees, like people want coaching from me. And, one of my criteria is like, I want to coach them. Like I want to spend time with them in that way. Because it is an investment in many ways. And, my job is not to be a coach. Like my job, that's not like, I'm not a life coach, right? So to take that on as kind of like a side thing, I really need to believe in the person. I really need to care about the person, which is why I've done it for Omid.
Don't be hitting up Rockwell after this call, guys. He's capped.
But there's somebody who I hired earlier in my career, and I knew when I first hired him that this kid was just like a rock star. And we worked together for want to say like a year or so, plus or minus, in digital marketing. He was doing, at that time, he was doing Facebook ads. And I was like, this kid's not going to end up in Facebook ads. Like, he's not going to be a media buyer. And sure enough, uh, he ends up joining an e-commerce company, and he grows and grows and grows. And within a few years, he's president of that e-commerce company. And it's like, and the e-commerce company does like over 100 million revenue a year.
Whoa.
And so he, fantastically skilled guy. And he reached out to me a while back, and he was like, Rock, I'm in this position. It's new for me. I really respect you. You just like, can you help me? Can you just like mentor me through this period of my life? And I told him, I was like, look, I'll do 3 calls with you, like 1 call a month for 3 months. If you feel like you need more, great, we can continue. If you feel like you've gotten everything that you need, fantastic. On the last call, he asked me the question of like, what is the most important skill that I can focus on right now that is going to um, accelerate my development? And this is already like a fantastically accomplished, skilled person. This is also a person who came from nothing and now has basically financially set himself up for life now. And he is just like hungry to do more, hungry to be more. And the answer was high agency. Like, now that he's president of this company and it's doing so well and all of these things, it is very easy to get caught up in the machinery. It's very easy to become a cog in the wheel and just do the things that you're supposed to do and just go with the flow and lose a part of what made you rise so quickly and made you so special, which is your ability to manifest anything you want. Right? It's like, I want this thing to exist. I want to do this thing, and I'm gonna get it done. It's going to happen. And like people might have different definitions of high agency, but my definition of high agency is your ability to manifest your will into reality. Like, if you are a super high agency person, you can believe that you are going to promote your blog post in Times Square for free and make it happen. And, it's like, I believe that's what he did with highagency.com. I'm not sure if it was free, but it was like either like free or like close to free or something, like inexpensively. And it's like, what is the crazy thing that you believe that you shy away from? And it's like, no, you could just go do it. You can just go do things. And it's when you realize that at any time you could grab your jacket, walk out the door, fly halfway across the world and experience something you've never experienced before. Like, at any time you could just pull this trigger. You have that ability. And look, it's like, how can you break out of the mold of getting lost as a cog in the wheel of the universe?
Dude, Omid, I now see why you wanted Rock on the podcast. It's Rock, man, I got to tell you, that touched my heart. That was beautiful. I couldn't help but start writing notes, and I hope I wasn't being distracting as I was doing that. I was literally writing notes. That was absolutely wonderful. What's your advice on retaining that and keeping that skill alive in you and keeping yourself in touch with that?
I would go read that highagency.com blog post. That's what I would do. The very first, like, I will say this, because you'll forget. Like, go to highagency.com, read the blog post. Go to highagency.com, like, read the blog post. Like, it takes 30 minutes, or there 45 if you're slow. But that's okay. You can read slowly, you can read quickly, just get the message. There are so many ways to go about this. I think I'll offer my perspective. You must do things that make you feel uncomfortable. You just have to. You just, like, Omid comes from the Tony Robbins world. Like, Tony Robbins has, like, if you can't, you must, right? Like, it's it's a flavor of this, right? you need to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. Like that moment that you sense and you arise in consciousness that it's like, I shouldn't do this, I can't do this, like this is gonna like blah blah blah, whatever that monkey mind is going, it should be the bell that rings. It's like ding ding ding. Ah, I should probably do this, right? Like this is probably something that's holding me back. And you build that muscle over time. It could be as simple as, getting up and being called on an improv comedy show to get on stage, right? It could be answering the question in a room full of people that it's like don't want to raise their hand. It could be approaching that person that you're attracted to across the room and just striking up a conversation and saying hi. It could be so many things, right?
Yeah.
And like, just like not financial advice, like this also doesn't mean like, hey, I'm scared of going 140 miles an hour down the road, I should do it, right? Like, yes, there's like a pinch of common sense here that you have to take.
Within reason.
Yeah, it's so funny you're saying that because I'm experiencing that right now. One of the things that I've realized being at a job, it's so great, but you get kind of lost in the cog of the universe in a way, and you kind of have to be conscious about not falling into that same rut. And one of my goals for this year is I want to take more risk, but not like a big risk like driving 140 miles down the road, but more so like something I've always wanted to do is throw a party, and I've always felt like, oh, I don't know if I can throw a party. I don't know if I can sell tickets for it. Oh my
God, this is perfect.
Yeah. And I was like, you know what? I was talking to Juan. I went to one of my friends and we were at Brendan Burchard event, and he was like, I told him, oh, I want to throw a party someday. He's like, you know what I hate about someday is it never comes. Let's schedule it. So
it sounds like some shit Juan would say.
Yeah.
But dude, like, do you mean like a DJ party or like just like have people over?
DJ party. Rock, you were going to say something. You said it was all aligning right there.
The second thing that he asked me as a follow-up when we talk about high agency is like, okay, beyond high agency, what is there that I can focus on? And I told him, from my perspective, it's conflict resolution. So if you're incredibly high agency, you tend to create a lot of conflict because you're doing things, you're making waves, and people don't like it when you make waves effectively, or some people don't like it when you make waves. And so ultimately you have to, you don't have to, but like if you're able to do conflict resolution really, really well and figure out how to get the people back on your side that are angry that you've made waves, it's extremely powerful. And he's like, oh, that's really interesting. Can you give me examples? And I think one of the best examples, actually hilariously from tennis, is Roger Federer. So Roger Federer is incredibly high agency, like super duper, like very, very high agency. One of the greatest tennis players to ever live. And everybody loves him. Like he walks on water, like he's basically Jesus in tennis form. Yeah. Everybody loves this guy. And he's really good at conflict resolution. He's very, very good at that. He can be like, his diplomacy character attribute is off the charts. Another person that is kind of a more controversial pick, because any political pick is like this, despite what you might think about his politics or what his exact record was. Barack Obama is somebody who has extremely high agency and is very good at conflict resolution. Like his diplomacy attributes are like off the charts. Agreed. And if you ever go and like watch him in town halls, he will take questions from people that are just diametrically opposed to him or already like throw a rock at him and just get them on his side. It's the wildest thing to watch. And you just get these people who are, and it's not to say it's like you have to be good at conflict resolution to get anything done. I'm saying if you do these two things, you like build a cult following. You're incredible being on this planet that people are just attracted to and will follow to the ends of the earth. And it's certainly one way of going about things.
Wow.
I have so I'm on, dude. This is phenomenal. Okay, I'm gonna ask you the question that I don't think you. I think I have two ways of asking this question, and one of the ways is like the ways in which I think you would want me to ask the question, but I'm not going to do that way. I'm going to do. I'm going to try
He's
to
gonna be
take.
high. He's gonna be high agency.
Practicing it immediately.
I'm going to try to do it
Take
the
action.
shortcut. I'm going to try to do it the shortcut way, which is not the way. Okay, I will say the question how I think you want me to ask it, and then I'm going to ask my question. The question that I think the way you want me to ask it is, what resources would you suggest? What books would you suggest? What websites should somebody read to, or what prompts should we do in AI to learn how to do conflict resolution? That'd be my assumption based on this conversation. But what I am going to ask you is, what frameworks do you have, if any, about conflict resolution that have really served you?
It's not exactly a framework. It's more of a character attribute. But I think people that are really good at conflict resolution tend to have high empathy, like this ability to step outside of yourself and put yourself in the other person's shoes, understand their perspective, and understand the reasons that are driving their behavior. The vast majority of people are not the Joker in Batman. Like, they're not driven by some like random agenda that it's like, some people just like to watch the world burn. And, it's like, that's not how people operate. People have reasons, perspectives that are shaped by everything that's going on in their life in that moment, and the thing we often do is we jump to a conclusion and we take things personally, that, oh, this person is behaving this way and they're doing this to me. And when you realize, like, the world is not revolving around you, nobody is doing anything to you for the most part. Like, you're taking it personally. You're because you're the center of your universe. You believe you're the main character, and everything is happening to you. Everybody is doing things to you. If you can step outside of that and truly have like a deep level of empathy for other people's journeys and what they're going through, you can start to understand, how should I approach this conversation based on what is driving their behavior, that we can have some kind of resolution to this conflict. And look, like, there's certainly many books, many resources, many people that are better to talk about this topic than I am. But if you're asking, like, my perspective, it's like, high levels of empathy is like a huge step in the right direction to understanding how to do conflict resolution. And if you want like a fun, like, pop side book, there's Never Split the Difference. That's actually a kind of a fun book on negotiation.
Yeah, that's a really good book.
Yeah, and so, like, that's literally about conflict resolution in like the most serious ways. But I think one of my favorite things about that book is he actually gives you a bunch of frameworks of how to deal with conflict resolution, more than just like, you want 0, I want 10, we're going to meet at 5, right? Like,
yeah.
And I remember there's a person that was very dear to me when I was young, who's like, that's not compromise. Like, real compromise is, you want 0, I want 10. Sometimes we'll do 0, sometimes we'll do 10. And because 5 doesn't make anybody happy. And he was talking about it in the context of a romantic relationship, not business. But
sure,
I think there's like lots of ways to approach this, but I think it's much easier if you have high levels of empathy.
So, speaking of empathy, and I know this is a business podcast and there's like business advice, but I think ultimately at the end of the day, it's a means to an end, and a lot of people are chasing purpose and happiness. And what I have context on that a lot of the people listening to this don't, is that you are, I think, the happiest human being I've ever met in my life. And I think you just walk with joy. And I think even now, just listening to what you're saying, I've heard a lot of the things you're saying many different times, and I still feel like I'm listening to it for the first time. And even Nick is, completely mind blown trying to take notes. So I guess to tie it to empathy is, how do you, and I don't know if ChatGPT can help in this regard, but like, how do you optimize your life for so much happiness? I think that right there is such a powerful thing that people can just carry on into their lives.
That's a good question.
Damn, catch me outside, dog. Hey.
Damn, bro. Yeah. Right when you change that wallpaper, I might catch you outside. All right. So just, all right, you You have that.
I, as much as you guys like that question, I actually very much dislike it, and I'll tell you why.
Oh,
Damn it!
I'm
I take
ready.
it back. Hey, Rock. Listen, I was just trying to make Omid feel good and stuff. I don't even like it at
So
all.
the reason I dislike the question is it's this very like Andrew Huberman approach to life. What do I
Yeah.
need to optimize in my life to be happy? Like, what set of to-do list items do I need to do in order to feel happiness?
Mm.
And I just don't believe that's how happiness is generated. And like a sustained happiness, like, and for me, I don't even think about it so much as happiness as I do as fulfillment. Like when I'm on the tennis court, I'm not always happy. Like sometimes I'm mad that I messed up on the court, right? But I am so fulfilled that I'm on the court. Like I'm at the place I want to be, that I need to be in that moment.
Mm.
And there's no like, there's no question that I'm in the wrong place or the wrong time or the wrong list. And so if I'm in alignment, I feel really fulfilled generally. And I will have emotions that are happy, sad, whatever, but I will be fulfilled in the moment that I'm on the right path. Um, I think oftentimes when people talk about happiness, what they're actually asking is, how do I get my mind to stop beating me up? Because
Ooh.
in any given moment, if I close my eyes and I listen to what's happening in my head, I will find that I am not very nice to myself. Right? That's what I think most people, when they say like, I want to find happiness, I think that's what they actually mean. And um, that journey is very much happening in here, not out here. So when you're saying, what do I need to do to optimize my life? It sounds like a lot of stuff out here that you have to do. And um, the the thing that you really have to do is figure out how you can improve the conscious thoughts that are arising, right? Um, it is no fun to walk throughout life and constantly in your mind hold thoughts like, I'm not good enough, I'm bad at math, I'm a terrible mother, I screwed up on that test, I am not enough at work, I'm whatever, like whatever story that you're telling yourself inside of your head. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you drive a super fancy car or you have millions of dollars in the bank or all this stuff. If you don't address that, it's going to be basically impossible to have fulfillment and happiness ultimately. And if you address that, all the external factors basically don't matter. Right? This is why you can see the monks walking around in their orange outfits and they're just completely at peace. And you're like, whatever that guy has is what I want. Like it's like, wow, this guy has nothing and he has everything.
Mm.
That's incredible. And um, yeah, we could talk about that journey of like, how is it that you control that inner narrative? And control is not the right word, but like, how do you change that inner narrative effectively? Um, well, what does that process look like? But I think the path, and I call it, and it's like, instead of thinking about it as an optimization, it's the path to changing and transforming your inner narrative.
Wow.
That was a fantastic answer. I can ask you a personal question.
Of course.
I feel like that's all we've been doing is asking personal questions. So, so I don't even know why I asked that, but something that's really, I don't know if you've received this compliment before, but I feel called to tell you this. And so, every now and again, I'll meet a CEO like yourself or a founder, and I find that like there's so many different ways to categorize them, and it really is a spectrum. And this is just one of many ways. And by no means am I trying to actively make this categorization. It just happens naturally. And I end up either meeting a founder that's like very frantic, and like they're always in their cell phone, and there's always something going on. But I don't judge them for it. I meet them, and I'm like, wow, this person, and I can be impressionable at times, and their effect on me is I should hustle harder. Like I leave those meetings saying, wow, I should probably work harder. And then I meet people like you. And the effect that you're having on me is really quite wonderful. It's you've helped me do my favorite thing that I literally, this is my favorite trait. If anybody can make me feel this way, it's my favorite way that I can possibly, like, it's the highest compliment that I could give you. You slow me down. And it's because and it's because you went first, you know, like you gave me permission to do that. And so that's the other founder that I meet, you know, that other side of the spectrum, somebody who is not living in their cell phone. They are not living by email. They're not tied to their calendar, and they live a slow, intentional existence in life. And they're highly meaningful and effective. And I could be off, but that's my read on you. And I feel it's incredibly inspiring. Was it a struggle to become that way in a world that can constantly bite and clamor for your attention? And if so, how did you condition that muscle? Please don't say this is a bad question.
He was ready.
I was ready for us clenching this fist.
That was a really beautiful comment. Thank you, Nick.
For sure.
That means a lot. And I think one of the most important questions you have to answer for yourself is deciding what's important and what's not important. Right? Like what I probably spent too much of my early career working on things that don't really matter. And I remember I was at the tennis court and there's a VC that I would sometimes hit with named David. And David was like, cool, like, what are you working on? And I told him what I was working on at the time. And he was like, okay, like, if it goes phenomenally well, what's the impact it will make? And I told him. And he's like, man, you're a smart kid. Like, you're really capable. Don't you think you could do like more? Like, you could make a bigger impact? And it was an interesting wake-up call of, yeah, I should work on things that matter. And I should do it in the way that is authentic to myself. And authentic to myself was never, I'm going to run around like with, like a chicken with my head cut off, like constantly, like like next, I actually met one of these guys recently. I jumped on the phone. They wanted some help scaling like a e-commerce thing that they have. And I was struck by how frantic this guy was. He was so frantic. It was like everything had to happen yesterday. And if it didn't, it was a disaster. And they have like, this much time that they can do this thing in. And if they don't, they're going to miss their window and all this money that they raise. And it's like all these stories. And I think that for a lot of like venture-backed businesses, that's what VCs want to see. They want to see it's like you're constantly frantic, like you're just there, you're like twitching almost, like to get things done effectively. And I take a different path than that. I kind of always have taken a different path than that, because to me, it's not about the quantity of things that you do. It's about the quality of the execution of the things that you do. And so, yes, you can take 20 minutes to find the right move on the chessboard and then make it. You don't need to make 20 moves, but you need, like in that moment, you need to spend as much time as you need to make the right next move. And so often we miss that if we just made the right impactful moves, our lives would be tremendously easier. And I can almost guarantee that any founder, entrepreneur, CEO, I can pull up their calendar, I could pull up their emails, I can analyze what they did for the week and tell you that 80 to 90% of what they didn't matter. Like ultimately actually did not matter in the end. There was a few things that they might do that have like large amounts of impact. But so many of the things that we obsess about, so many things that we do, don't even matter. Like even if you did them, if you didn't do them, the universe wouldn't be any different.
How do you discern that? Like in that example of like pulling up the CEO's thing, like how do you, oh man, it's I know there's like the Eisenhower matrix of what's important, what's urgent and all that, but it feels like in most moments, everything is important. How do you,
I mean, can I take a pass at that before we pass it to Rock?
yeah.
Sure.
My gut is that, this could be oversimplifying it, but my gut is that, man, like my experience with the Eisenhower matrix, which is, the important non-urgent quadrant, is that you really just know. Like, it's really not that difficult. I have a friend was on the show, Jason Vander. Remember him, Omid?
Oh,
And
so dope. Yeah.
He's like the king of not overcomplicating things, Rock. And he's like, I was like, how do you do this? He goes, I don't know. It's just, this is what I would do. So I did it. And it's so simple. And I'm just like, okay, well, I was like, let me try it. And so it turns out that in a lot of circumstances, you do know what's important. And every now and again you mess up, but that's how you learn. But Rock, I don't know. I'm curious, what's been your experience with it, man?
We have to put in the show notes that video from the real estate guy who just talks about just doing it. Omid, do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's such a banging video.
You just do it
and
do it till the job gets done.
Yeah, we gotta throw that in.
Dude,
100%.
please put that in the show notes.
I'm gonna make a note of it right now. Yeah,
it's so good because it just cuts through the noise. And I think ultimately, your question boils down to, it's like, how do I cut through the noise and actually hear the signal and act on the signal? Because I feel like everything is important all the time. If everything is important all the time, nothing is important. So effectively, everything is noise, right? Because it doesn't allow you to detect the signal. I'll differ a little bit from Nick in that I think the answer if you have clarity of thought, clarity of mind, like healthy body and mind, right? If you don't, it's much harder, right? If your mind is totally consumed by all of these negative stories that you're telling yourself, it's very hard to see what the signal is from the noise, right? So this is why, like, oftentimes you see so many of these founders or CEOs, like, they start lifting, they work out, they like get their diet right, they all these things, right? And it's not to say that you need to do all of those things in order to have clarity of thought. But I'll tell you, it certainly doesn't hurt to exercise consistently. It certainly doesn't hurt to eat really well. It certainly doesn't hurt to nurture productive relationships in your life and have healthy relationships, right? All of those things are gonna, like, how hard is it to have clarity of thought when you are arguing with your wife or your significant other?
Oh man.
Right? Like, how hard is it to have clarity of thought when your best friend is mad at you?
Yeah.
How hard is it to have clarity of thought when you have to go to the doctor because you have some serious health condition, right? It's like you've heard a million times, right? Like, the healthy man has many dreams, the sick man has one, right? It's just, there's so many other things that are worthwhile to get in order when you're talking about how do I detect the signal from the noise, right? So I think, look, like, again, another topic we could go super deep on of like, well, how do you train yourself to see opportunity, right?
Oh, that's funny.
How do you how do you train yourself to like, in the crowded room of potential, see the actual possibility that's the way forward?
I think that's where we end it, man. Like, I honestly, Rock, I could fucking talk to you for weeks. Like, I don't even want to say hours, like weeks. And I only say weeks because I know you don't mentor people and shit. And so I'm busting your balls. But I mean, you reminded me of why I do a podcast, man. Thank you. Like, I primarily do it for me. And it's a wonderful benefit to be able to put these ideas out into the world. But I'd be lying if I didn't say that I had I show up for me. And I'm proud to say that, because I think, you know, when I'm at my best, I just feel I'm in a position where I could help others. And that's my belief. And I just want to say thank you. I mean, this has just been a phenomenal hour 20. I mean, I'm sure when we shave it off and we cut out some moments, it'll be, you know, roughly an hour. We got to have you back on, because
now you're gonna get all the people wondering what happened to the other 20 minutes.
Yeah, I know. Well, hey, you know what? We're nothing if we're not exclusive, guys. So if you want an extra 20 minutes, I will be selling it on the black market.
Yeah.
And but Rock, we got to have you back on, man. There was so much stuff we didn't get to, but where can people find you, man? If they do want to connect, if they want to take the brave ask of asking you to be their mentor, where do you want them to do it? What do you work? What are you working on next? What's the scoop?
Don't find me. I'll find you.
All right. Damn. All right. One easy way to not find him is just Google The Rock, and I promise you, you don't find him anywhere. Rockwell, this was absolutely incredible. Omid, any parting thoughts?
I'm very grateful that you took the time to be on here. You're a gem that I think the world needs to see, even though you want to be mysterious, but you are awesome in every single way. And every time I talk to you, it's like, whoa. So I'm glad Nick got to experience that, and all of our listeners as well.
God bless.